Welcome back to the Chapter Chats and Chill podcast.
Your cozy reading nook where we talk everything about books, tropes, fave characters, and more. This is Elena.
This is Maroua.
And Emma. And we invite you to get comfortable, grab a cup of tea or coffee, and get ready to enter a world where stories come true. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are doing the book review of the second book from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I was just telling Maroua and Elena that I keep forgetting the title. Bear with me. It's called The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber,
Yay.
right? This episode is dedicated to a spoiler-free version of the book review. So if this series or book has been on your radar for a while, this is a great listen for you to be introduced into this magical world without the fear of any spoilers. And if you're interested in staying with us longer, next week we will also have an episode dedicated to all of the spoilers and everything related to the plot. Which, by the way, let me do a little disclaimer since we're here. It probably was my first book or one of the first books in 2024 that I've read. And to be honest, I think I forgot quite a few things. So girls, you'll have to make me remember those.
So the synopsis goes as, after Jax, the Prince of Hearts, betrays her, Evangeline Fox swears she'll never trust him again. Now that she's discovered her own magic, Evangeline believes she can use it to restore the chance at happily ever after Jax stole it away. But when a new terrifying curse is revealed, Evangeline finds herself entering into a tenuous partnership with the Prince of Hearts again. Except this time, the rules have changed. Jack isn't the only force Evangeline needs to be wary of. In fact, he might be the only one she can trust, despite her desire to despise him. Instead of a love spell wreaking havoc on Evangeline's life, a murder spell has been cast. To break it, Evangeline and Jax will have to do battle with old friends, new foes, and a magic that plays with heads and hearts.
Intriguing.
Yes.
What did you think of the book?
I was very excited when I started reading this book because the first book in the series was my favorite from 2023. It was such a beautiful surprise. And I didn't hate this book at all. I was actually looking back at my rating earlier today, and I think I give it a 4 stars. I don't know, like I thought I would give it probably like a 3 or a 3.5. But then I reread some of the quotes that I liked. And I kind of went back to, 4 stars for sure, because they're so cool. But yeah, I still liked it a little bit less than the first book. I think for me, most of the book, probably until like 60-70% of the book, was a little bit too slow, in my opinion. And there's a few things that I didn't really love, but we're going into those later, probably because it's a small spoiler. So yeah, I liked it, but not too much.
Well, I personally really enjoyed the book. I don't know why, but I was like in such a good reading mood. And I was like, okay, I need to pick the second one because we chose it for the
Book club.
book club, yeah. And then after I finished the second one, in like 2 days, I had to know more. And I read the third. And I was like, no way, there will not be any more books about Jax and Eva. And I'm like, I'm not good with that. Like,
Do you
I'm
think
gonna
it's
go.
for certain? Do you think it's for certain that there's not going to be any more books, or maybe it's like still an open possibility?
I don't know, because not because of the final of the book, but because the strategy of Stephanie Garber is like creating a trilogy, like, as Caraval. And
Right.
actually, I was hoping that the new release, because she has a new release this year or early next year, but it's a novella and it's still regarding Caraval. It's not regarding this new world. So I was a little bit disappointed. Also because I started Caraval, but then I just like said, nah, it's not my cup of tea. Even though I was thinking that it will be such a good, replacement, but it was not.
Like the same vibes, like contains a lot of magic and mystery and all, but the characters are just not the same. We don't have an anti-hero. Actually, we do have an anti-hero. We have Jax, for example, in the second book, the second and the third book, actually, but it's not the same.
Okay. Yeah, it's not, right?
But it's good. It's actually
It's
good. Give it a try. Like if you leave some time so you can a little bit forget about Once Upon a Broken Heart and then you can pick it up again.
Yes. In the future, I will definitely pick it up because I want to have like the whole saga completed, like Markets read. So definitely I will read it in the future. But back to the book, I can understand why you thought it was like slower in the first part of the book, and I think that the third book is gonna be even slower for you, because for me it took 3 days instead of 2, but because I wanted to know. And
2
if you are
days?
just
Oh, I love that.
But
It happens.
but the first part is also I was thinking, oh, this is low. I know why Emma said that the book
Okay.
was low, but then I remember that you talk about the second one, so I was like, well, she's gonna think about this one. But maybe
Drama.
you're gonna love it. I don't know.
We'll see. I will definitely read it because when I start a series, it's very hard for me to stop reading it because I'm curious about how the story ends. And even just with a regular book, for example, The Love Hypothesis, which I didn't really love, I still read the whole thing because, well, it's not, I disliked it, but it wasn't my favorite. Still, give it a go. Maroua, what did you think about the book?
I personally really, really, really liked it. Like, I give it, I think, between 4 and 4.5 stars. And once again, I was charmed by the fairy tale / Bridgerton atmosphere, all the balls, the pretty gowns, the castles, and everything. Love the vibes. I wish we could still wear that kind of dresses outside, to be honest. That would
Yes.
have been
100% agree. Especially, I was thinking at the Eras tour, I think it would be amazing having one of those dresses.
definitely
I
like
think there
a
were-
dress or a midnight one, or even though
Yeah.
an Evermore.
I think there were so many moments in the book that reminded me of Taylor Swift's songs. I don't know why, but so many situations and dynamics between characters and even some quotes. I was like, oh, this is so Taylor Swift, actually, which I really loved. So maybe if you're a fan of Taylor Swift, you should definitely give this series a go.
Yeah.
That's a good indicator.
So which characters did you like the most?
I loved Chaos. I loved to read more about him. And I think he's the villain in the story. Like, not villain, but kind of, yeah. I mean, I dislike Luke more, but let's say he's not like, he's not the best character in the way he behaves. And I was very happy that we could read more about Chaos. Yeah.
Same. The morally gray anti-hero vibes.
Yeah, they have their charm. I don't know. And
There's
also
a part I want to talk about, but it's actually not spoiler free. So
okay, I think it's the same. I was thinking about it. We'll stay tuned for next episode.
Can we talk about the tension between Jax and Evangeline?
It was very good.
I'm also gonna leave them for the second part, but I have some quotes, you guys.
Yes.
You're not ready.
Yes. I think I might have a quote that isn't like too much of a spoiler because it was in one of the first pages or like X%. Okay, I'm actually not sure if this was Jax or someone else, but I think it is. And it says, he moved as if the night should have been afraid of him. And I was like,
yes, it's
Evangeline?
him.
Okay. And also, he smirked, flashing dimples he didn't deserve.
He's so
Oh, that's
handsome.
totally.
Yeah. I also have a quote that is funny and it's like no spoiler. And basically it's synthesized the chemistry and also the humorism that Evangeline and Jax has. And he says, oh, where were you? She asked. I was killing innocent maidens and kicking puppies. That's not funny. Actually, it's really funny.
I think that might have been true, actually.
Yeah.
So sassy.
Do you have like any least favorite things that are not spoilers? I'm actually was about to say something and then I said, okay, maybe for the next episode. I don't want to ruin the surprise to anyone.
I want to say something. It's about Lala, and it's not really a spoiler, but I just wanted to say that I get what you said, Emma, when you told us that you were kind of disappointed about her, because I felt the same way while reading the book. Once again, we didn't see much of her.
Yeah.
What little we saw was not very flattering, let's say. So
I agree.
So something happened that involved Lala, but I would have loved to read more about it from her point of view, or, you know, even by reading from Evangeline's point of view, but reading more about Lala and what was that thing all about. And I think, I don't know, maybe in the third book, I hope. But the fact that we couldn't really understand why she did some things and so on, it kind of let me down a little bit, as you said, Maroua. Like, I don't know. I actually really love her as a character, but I need to understand.
I also agree 100%, actually. And I'm not disappointed by these other two characters because, you know, they were useless anyway. I'm talking about Marisol and Luke because, I mean, Marisol, we saw her in the first book, and she had a pretty huge part, in the plot of the first book. But then in the second book, it happened something, and Jack says she can go or something like that. And then she disappeared completely. And also Luke as well. We have Luke for like 2 times, but it's still useless. I mean, it doesn't have a purpose.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest, I didn't see it coming at all. Like, I honestly thought we weren't going to see him again. But I have to admit that it was kind of fun having him around from time to time. Like, he's kind of dumb, let's admit it. But he
Let's
does
say
know
naive.
so. He's like an innocent dork, let's say so.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a purpose.
Yeah, yeah. But he's funny.
It's like the author cannot like really fully develop second characters. It's
Mm.
like only a couple of them. That's why for me this trilogy is not a full 5-star reading, because there is something that is lacking, and I think is these other characters that we don't know, as Lala or as this other one that completely disappeared at some point.
Maybe she has a novella in her mind about these characters, like secondary
Yeah,
characters. I
she
don't know,
did
but it's
one.
true.
She did write a novella, I think. Or maybe it was a Caraval one. I don't know.
Yes, next year it has to come out. But it's
Okay.
for Caraval, yeah. It's
Mhm.
spectacular, something like that is called.
Speaking of the author, I don't know if you read the acknowledgement part, but like at the very last chapter, she said something so sweet. Like she said, I think young adult fantasy readers are some of the most incredible readers out there. And I was touched.
Oh, that's so true.
Stephanie.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The book
I-
has a response for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always keep the acknowledgement part. Good thing that we read like the same books. So you can kind of, remind us of or tell us if there's anything interesting. Okay, anything the readers going into this book should know? Warnings.
I don't know, it's quite difficult because it's a second
Yeah.
trilogy, so it's
I
like
think they're prepared.
yeah.
But I really, what I really loved? The letter that is in the, I think, first chapter or before the book starts, that Evangeline writes to herself as a reminder of, the fact that Jax broke her heart and like, do not fall for that again. And then we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. But
Well, that letter, it's really important.
yes, for the next book as well.
I don't know, maybe. I cannot say anything. This is a no spoiler part.
I'm trying to
I
think,
think-
but
I think I see where you're going, Elena.
probably I already forgot.
The book has a lot of short reminders of book one, like especially at the beginning. So every now and then we see that the author put like a little reminders in case readers forgot what happened previously. And I found that really useful because I didn't remember some details. And it was like good.
I totally see your point, and being a reader who doesn't remember like half of the things she reads, that's definitely useful for me. But I think in this case, since I read the 2 books quite closely to one another, it was more annoying than like helpful in my case, because I was reading about stuff that I had just read like weeks or a few months ago. And so it was like, I know this. I mean, skip the useless, into brackets, because I mean, it's not really useless, but skip the useless information and just skip to the story because I want to know more. And this is going on too slowly for my taste. But I think maybe it's also because I got so used to reading other authors' stories that are so much more fast-paced, because it's happening, the same thing that I think the story is going on too slowly. It's happening to me again with the book that I'm currently reading. And so maybe it's just that I'm not used to reading, just in a more mindful way. So maybe reading this book and the next book will actually be good for me. I don't know.
I actually have some quotes that I'd like to share with you. I find them really, really beautiful. Like, once again, you can see all the post-its. So I'm obviously going to share some quotes here.
We're all ears.
So the first quote goes as, I think there's a happy ending for everyone, but I don't think these endings always follow the last page of a book, or that everyone is guaranteed to find their happily ever after. Happy endings can be caught, but they are difficult to hold on to. They are dreams that want to escape the night. They are treasures with wings. They are wild, feral, reckless things that need to be constantly chased, or they will certainly run away.
So
That's so
sad.
true and so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, I feel like this is a very good example of Evangeline's mindset or like emotional state throughout this book, because in the first book, she was so optimistic, even not too much, but maybe in a little bit of a naive way. She was always seeing the glass half full, which is very good. Like I loved it. It was one of my favorite things about her, because no matter what happened, she still had hope in her, which is very admirable. But in this book, maybe because she went through a heartache and she was disappointed and let down by people she really trusted, but she was just a little bit more, I don't even know how to describe this. Maybe in the first book, she was more like a child, like in a good way. I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, but like so optimistic. In this book, she seemed more like a teenager who goes through their first breakup, kind of.
Wow, hold yourself.
Buckle up.
I feel like you're gonna tease us a lot, Elena.
Yes. Actually, I'm like Emma, so I forgot stuff about book. But now that we are talking about it, I remember even more. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happened. But this has happened in the second one and in the third one. And then I remember, no, it's in the third one. Like, yeah, you're gonna be surprised.
Well, I think maybe this is enough breadcrumbs for this episode. What do you girls think? Do you
Yes.
have anything else you want to share?
I'm ready for the spoiler part.
Well, then I guess we will see you guys in the next episode, which is going to be full of spoilers and chats and maybe also hints from Elena, who read the third book already. Bye!
Bye!
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into Chapter Chat and Chill.
If you loved this episode, make sure you give it a 5-star rating, thumbs up, and comment below what you want to hear next.
To stay connected in between episodes, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Chapter Chats and Chill.